Thank you very much. My name's Nathan Field. I'm from the Field Homeschool in Wales. I just love saying that because it takes me back to ESC, which was always the best week of the year for me. So I was just asked to come and talk a little bit about my homeschooling experience, and I wanted to share a little bit with you about what's happened since I've finished my education. I've always been homeschooled. I got my school uniform one week, and the next week I was learning in my living room. I wasn't quite aware of what was happening, but didn't regret it one bit. Loved every second of it. One thing people always ask me when I tell them that I was homeschooled is, "Didn't you miss? Didn't you miss out on things?" But even when I was in it, I always appreciated, I think, that I was getting the very best education, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I look at my friends going to school, and I didn't envy them one bit. I loved being at home. I loved being taught by my parents and learning from the paces. So just wanted to share with you a little bit about how that environment has affected my whole life in a good way, in a great way, I think. God did a wonderful thing just as I finished school, just as I was finishing school. I hadn't even got my certificate yet. I think we just sent off my final tests. My next-door neighbour came round and asked if I'd like to apply for a job that he was offering, that the company that he worked for was opening up. And I wasn't really interested. It was a job in IT, not a career I'd thought of. But I went for the interview, and I got the job. And about 2 months into the job, I realised it was the absolute perfect job for me. And I realised it was absolutely God-sent, and it's a real miracle and a real blessing that job is to me. And it's wonderful to, even when you're not having a very, when you don't particularly feel like going to work in the morning, to think, God gave me this. God's put me in this place, and I'm where I'm meant to be. Since I've started working, and it's an apprenticeship, so they send me to university on a day release, I've realised that there are 3 ways, there are probably hundreds more, but I'm going to mention 3 specific ways that it helps me every day. The first and most obvious is the curriculum. At no point since I've finished school has my level of education been an issue. University didn't question it. Very happy to accept me. No problem with the classes. I'm not going to stand up here and say that I'm better or cleverer than the rest of my fellow students. I'm going to sit down and say it. No, I'm not. It's a great education to have. The second way, and this is I think where the curriculum absolutely excels, is the principles that it teaches you, the equipment, the way it equips you for work, for further education. The main thing is the way it teaches you to set goals. You've got short-term goals, medium-term, long-term goals. I have to use those every day. I recently had my third-year appraisal for my work, and the one thing my manager said to me when he was appraising me was that he appreciates the fact that I'm able to set goals and relay to him what those goals are and then check off that I've done them. And just something that simple teaching is just absolutely applies in the workplace. The other great thing about the one thing that it teaches you is learning by yourself. The fact that if there's something I don't understand, which is most things, then it's that ability that ACE gives you that you can teach yourself. That's what you're doing every day with your paces, is you're teaching yourself. And so if there's something you don't understand, then you can learn by yourself. And that's another thing that it really teaches you. And that the thing that it instills in you, I think, is this motto of striving for excellence. Everything you do has to be excellent, not just adequate, but excellent. Third thing, this is something that Dr. Slater mentioned just now, is the spiritual backbone of the paces, the fact that it's filled with Scripture. And this, I've sort of realized this transposes into life outside Christian education, where, my textbooks, my instruction manuals, they don't have scripture verses, they don't have ACE and Christie at the bottom of every page. But having that when you're growing up means that, as it says in Psalm 119, verse 11, it's thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. In other words, ACE teaches students that regardless of where they are, God must be in all their thoughts. And just a final thing that the spiritual background gives you, I think, is the way through the comic strips, through the teaching that is taught, through just the structure of the whole system, is the respect that you have to have towards authority, towards your parents, that it drills in you that honour your father and your mother. And I really think in this day and age, that respect towards authority is something that I really value. The final thing I'd just like to say about Christian education is, it's whether you're homeschooled, whether you're in a school, the opportunity that it gives you to witness to others is incredible. Out of nowhere, people will ask me, so where did you go to school? And I can say, well, I was homeschooled. And straight away, you're in. You don't have to, it's not, they're looking at you, but you're normal. Oh, yes. Yeah, I am. And you're straight in there, and you can go straight from, it's an easy segue from Christian education to sharing the gospel. And since I've finished, I've had so many opportunities in work, when I've gone to training courses at university, to share the gospel with people just from having done Christian education. So it's been a wonderful blessing for me. It continues to be a wonderful blessing for me. And I just pray that it will be a wonderful blessing for each and every one of you. So thank you.